Hello and welcome to the tutorial on robotic process automation using UiPath. So in this session, we'll be considering the example to build a workflow using if statement which tells a user whether he will get the second marshmallow or not. So first of all, we will ask the user whether he wants to eat a marshmallow for now or after 5 minutes. So based on that user input, we will display a message whether he will get a second marshmallow or not. So in this example, we will be seeing how to use the if activity into the building of workflows. So now let us jump into the UiPath Studio software and let's create a new sequence and give it as marshmallow game and say create. So we are ready with the sequence. The first and foremost activity that we will be using here is the input dialog to get the user input. So the title, I'll give it as marshmallow game and let the label be do you want to eat a second? No, I will say do you want to eat marshmallow now or after 5 minutes. Okay, so now we will be storing the input from the user into a variable. So let us go to the variables panel and create a variable called as user input. Let the variable type be string, and so the output of this particular activity should be the user input, or the output that we get from this activity should be stored in the variable that we have created. So in the properties panel, I'll indicate it here in the output section, say user underscore input. Okay, so now the next task is to check whether the user has given appropriate input or no. Okay, so for that we'll be making use of the if activity here. So if has a condition and then the then part and the else part. So based on the condition, it will evaluate the then part if it turns out to be true, otherwise it will execute the else part. Okay, so now let us write the first condition, say user input if it is equals to now. If the user gives the input as now, then we will display a message using the message box activity in the then part, saying that you will not get the second marshmallow. Okay, and if the user input is not now, then we will move ahead to the else part, and again we have two cases. If the user input is after 5 minutes, then we will say that the user will get a second marshmallow. If not, if the user input is not the two options that we have specified, then we should indicate the user that you have given a invalid input. So again we will be making use of one more if activity inside this else part. So I'll drag and drop it here in the else part. So here the condition should be user input is equals to after 5 minutes, If it is after 5 minutes, then we'll give a message using the message box activity. So that's why I'm dropping it here in the then part. And here I'll say, congrats, you will get a second marshmallow. Okay. Otherwise, if this is not the input by the user, then we will give the message as invalid input using the message box activity. So here we will say invalid input. Okay, that's it. So we are making use of if inside the if. The if activity is added at the else part of one of the if conditions or if activity. So that's it. Let us run this workflow. So it is debugging the file. It has started the execution, and now it is asking for the user input. It says, do you want to eat marshmallow now or after 5 minutes? So now I'll say as now. So if I click on the OK button, so it says, oops, you will not get the second marshmallow. So now it has executed the first if condition to be true. Now let us re-execute this and check for other conditions. Okay. Once again, it has started debugging the file. It has started the execution, and now it is asking for the user input. Now I will say after 5 minutes. Okay. Now if I hit on the OK button, it says, congrats, you will get the second marshmallow. So it has successfully executed the if activity inside the if activity or the else part of the first if condition. So now what if we give an invalid input? Okay, so let us re-execute it here. It has started the debugging, it has started the execution, and now it is asking for the user input. Now we will give an invalid input, say not now, and if I click on the OK button, it says invalid inputs. So this is how we make use of if activities inside the workflows, just to check for the condition, and based on the condition we will be executing other set of activities in the then part or in the else part. Thank you.